Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the pits of Motor Chaos. This is your host, Dave. Eyeline special guest, driver of the Chasin My Childhood alcohol funny car, Mike Coons. How you doing, Mike?
How you doing? Fine. I'm doing great.
So, beautiful weather we got out. The weather's not too hot, not too cold, so it's beautiful right now.
Yeah, it's beautiful weather up here right now. Yep.
So Mike, how'd you do with the funny car up in Joliet?
Yeah, we took it to Joliet last weekend, and the car ran great. And we had some issues, and we found the issue, and now the car really ran great, and we're ready to really step things up now.
So how many passes did you do at Joliet?
We did 2 passes at Joliet. Yeah, and we're supposed to go to Union Grove and over Labor Day weekend and make 4 passes there.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so Mike, let's rewind the clock now and go back in time. How did you get into drag racing? What got you into it?
Well, I've always been a gearhead, and years ago, when I was probably 13 or 14, I got hooked on drag racing, and we had a local track that wasn't that far away, a little 8-mile track, and I'd go there on Saturday night and watch them, and I really loved it. And Arnie Beswick was there, and he raced there almost every weekend, and every now and then they'd have Don Garlett down there, and it was, and I just got hooked, and I've been racing since I was 16 years old.
Wow. So
yeah.
So after all these years, what still keeps you passionate about drag racing?
Yeah, I just love drag racing, and always have, and never stopped. All the kids in school that used to race and have cars, they've all, none of them does anymore, and I still do it. Still race and still love to do it.
Nice. So at 16 years old, what did you start drag racing in?
I started drag racing in 1965.
No, I mean, what did you start driving? What kind of car?
I had a 1966 Comet that I bought new. Back then, Art Crispin had the flip-top funny car Comet, and I bought that Comet in, I guess it was probably October or November of 65, and I raced it. And then I built a couple of cars and just street cars with souped-up motors, cam, and good different heads and different intake manifolds, and that's what I raced until we bought the funny car back in '99.
So did you have any success with these other cars?
Oh yeah, we had real good success. We had a '63 Super Stock car that ran really good, and one of the big races that we went to Monster Mopar every year in St. Louis, and there was 104 cars in our class, and we made it all the way down to number 2. We were runner-up, and that was a big deal for us, and that was the first big success we had. And then we, in and out, we've had good years and bad years, but that's drag racing.
Yeah. So now the funny car you're currently driving, you purchased that in Wisconsin?
Yeah, we bought it in Waukesha, Wisconsin. A fellow by the name of Bob Gibson told us about the car, and we called it. The guy his name was Marty Quinn up in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and this was in 1999, and the car had been sitting in his shop since 1975. He quit running it in 1975, and we went and bought the car and restored it and back half the car so it would be legal to race, and started racing it in 2000.
So when you got the car, did it have a name on it?
Yes, it was called Wild Thing.
Wild Thing.
Yeah.
So now, where did the Chasin My Childhood come from?
Well, the guy that was in on the car with me by the name of Wilby Trower, we didn't know what to call the car, and his son said, "Well, both of y'all are old, so why don't you all call it Chasing My Childhood?" And we looked at each other and said, That's really a nice name. That's it. So that his son come up with the name.
Ah, okay. So now, when you get behind the wheel of this funny car, do you feel young again?
Yeah, I just love getting behind it. It's really something. The first eighth of a mile, it's real fun to drive anyway because you don't never know what it's going to do. Sometimes it goes straight as an arrow, and sometimes it doesn't. But it's just the thrill of the shaking and the power that you've got in front of you, and I just love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say the car is beautiful, Mike.
Yeah, we had it painted years ago. A friend of ours in Quincy, Illinois, by the name of Jeff Stone, painted it, and it's been painted. That was back in 2000, and it's got the same paint job on it. And back then there was camellia paint. It was a new paint that was camellia, and the car changes colors with the light. It's purple and it's blue, and the flames on the side of it turn pink when the light hits them at night, and it's really a pretty car.
Yeah, that's a beautiful nostalgia funny car.
Yeah.
So now, what kind of engine do you got under the hood of that funny car?
Right now we have a 528 cubic inch Keith Black motor in it. We originally had a 392, an iron 392 motor in it with an old set of Mondello heads and all the good stuff from the 70s and the 60s, and then we blew that motor up and put the Keith Black in it, and that's where we're at right now.
So what's the fastest you had that funny car go?
The fastest we've ever went with it is a 734 at 184.
Yeah, I know with you, you're not looking for speed. You're looking more to just put on a good show for the fans with the smoky burnout and the dry hops and all that good stuff.
Yeah, we like to really put on a show for the fans because after all, that's why we're there is the people, and lots of times you go to a track and they'll say, we really don't care how fast you go, just put on a good show. So we try to do long smoky burnouts and dry hops and make sure the parachutes come out on the end, and it's really all about the people and the show and people. That's how it was back in the 70s.
Right. And you're involved a little bit with the evolution of drag race, right? With Rex.
Yeah, Rex Stevens. He's the one that when we bought the car and put the blower motor in it, we knew nothing about a blower motor. And Rex run the Dawson's Demon, which was very successful. And so I got a hold of him, and he's been helping us with the car ever since we put the blower motor in it. And because I knew nothing, and he knew a lot, and he's helped us along, and he kind of has to hold me back a little bit. I have a tendency to kind of overdo things, and he kind of has to pull me back a little bit and say, "Nah, I don't think I would do that quite yet. This might happen or that might happen." So it's a good thing, and Rex is great. He really is.
So now for Labor Day week, will Rex be out there with you?
Yeah, Rex will go with me to Union Grove, and he goes with me as much as he can. And then whenever he goes and races his car, I try to go and help him with his car. Yeah. And he had a top fuel car there back in about 05 or somewhere 08, 7, 8, and I helped him on his rear engine top fuel car. It was a real top fuel car, and it was a lot of work. There was no fun involved in that. It was strictly work only.
Yeah, too bad Rex's beautiful dragster's not running at Union Grove.
Yeah, he kind of had an issue with it. He's having trouble with the fuel system, and he hasn't quite got it figured out, and hopefully he'll get it all figured out, and I'm sure he will, but it's just a matter of time and making some runs. It's just the idea when you fool with that nitro, it can get pretty expensive pretty quick.
Yeah. So now you've had Damon Coons drive your funny car a little bit, right?
Yeah, Damon is a friend of mine, and he runs Super Stock, and he talked about funny car. He didn't even know I had a funny car until all of a sudden one year at Monster Mopar, I showed up with it, and he thought it was pretty neat. And so one year I just loaded it up and took it down there for him to make a little pass in, and he did, and he was hooked, and now he owns a funny car.
Yeah, it's funny you guys last name one's Kurz, one's Coons. Sometimes I mix you guys up.
Yeah, we it's just his last name and my name are pretty close, and one time I got hurt and couldn't drive it, and so he come in from Texas, and we went up to WIR in Wisconsin, and he drove it up there, and now he's got his own, so hopefully he can get it out pretty shortly and see what it'll do.
Now this year you're not doing any funny car chaos events?
Do what?
I said this year you're not running any funny car chaos events, are you?
No, no. I just this year it's been a hectic year, and I've been doing quite a bit of racing, and I just not doing that this year.
Now, how about for next year? You plan on running funny car chaos at all?
Yep, I plan on running a lot next year, and I'm really excited because we really found an issue in Joliet, and the car has really come to life, and we've been struggling with it Rex and I have been struggling with this thing now for a couple years, and it's just been one thing after another, and we finally found an issue. It was a pure accident that we found it, but we found it and changed it, and the car is really going to come around now, so I'm excited now. I think Rex and I can make it really go fast, and my goal is to make it run 200 miles an hour in the sixes, and I think we can do it, hopefully.
So for anyone who comes out to Great Lakes Dragway, they should be in for a good show from you, right?
Yes.
You got that car dialed in now.
Yeah, we can. It's really come around. We found something, and it was just like I said, a pure accident. But the car has really come around, and I'm really excited now that I think we can make the car go fast now.
Yeah, you're running with a great group of drivers up there at Union Grove with Susie Q and Detroit Tiger, Blue Thunder, all them.
But, yeah, and I've ran with all them before, and they're fast cars. That Susie Q, that's a really, really fast car, and they all are, and they're all really nice cars. But we're going to go out and try to put on a good show and have fun with everybody, and my car actually came. That's his home. That was its home track, was Union Grove. So, and this was the first year I've ever had it back. So it hadn't been to Union Grove since 1975 until this year.
Now, of course, Steve with the Detroit Tiger, he won that Funny Car Chaos event, the last one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This will be my last race. Union Grove will be my last race for the year because I farm and it will be getting into the field. So Union Grove will be the last race for the year for me.
Now, over the off season, are you going to be doing a lot of work on that funny car?
Oh yeah, during the winter, I'm going to completely tear it apart and go through it and fix some issues that we got with it, and hopefully next spring we can come back out and really, really make a showing.
Oh yeah, then the other car was, I just kept thinking the Roadshow, that's the other funny car running with you guys.
Do what?
I was thinking in my head, what's the other funny car running with you guys at Union Grove? Roadshow, that one.
Yeah, the Roadshow's going to be there. Yeah, and there was some of them at Joliet last week that told me that they were going to be up there as well. And I can't think of what it was. It's Nitro Magic or something like that. Another car that was at Joliet last week is going to be at Union Grove as well.
With Nitro Flyer?
Maybe that's the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you do some stuff with Dennis Ellswimmer's group, right?
Yes, the Great Lakes Nostalgia Funny Car. I do a lot with them, and Dennis, he really promotes some really nice races and promotes the cars and I've been running with that group, and we had an issue with the car when we took it to WIR one year, and every funny car driver there jumped in and helped us. And we got there at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we wasn't supposed to race until 5 o'clock that night. And every funny car driver there that was in the Great Lakes Nostalgia Funny Car Organization come over and helped us get our car ready. And at 4:45, we fired it up. So, and we were able to make both of our passes. So, it's a great organization, and they're all really great people. Really great people.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and, that's the thing about nostalgia. Everybody helps everybody, and everybody's friendly. I don't think I've been anywhere that anybody is not friendly and does whatever he can to help you if you need assistance, and I try to do the same.
Yeah, that's what I always hear from everybody. Like, if your car's out for the night, you'll take a part off and give it to someone who needs it, or vice versa.
Yeah, in fact, I broke down one year, and somebody needed a mag or something. I can't remember now. Needed it, and so I just took it out of my car and gave it to him, so he could go ahead and run. And because I was broke down anyway, so that's just what you do. You try to help people and put on a show, and you're there for the people. That's what Rex always told me. He said, you always want to take care of the people because they're the reason you're there. If it wasn't for the people, you wouldn't be there. And he said, don't ever forget that. And, I'd hate to say how many little kids I've put in my funny car. And we were at a race at Havana last year, and a guy came over, and he said when he was 6 years old, I let him sit in my car, and he remembered the car and saw it at Havana, and he had to come over and say thank you for letting him do it. And so little kids do remember, and that's great. That's what it's all about.
Wow, at 6 years old, he sat in your...
He's 6 years old, and he was 16. It was 10 years since he'd seen that car, but it made such an impression on him that I let him sit in that car that he was on the spectator side over there, and we were in the pits, and he saw the car, and he said, that was the car I sat in, and sure enough, it was. So that's great that that makes that kind of an impression on some of the little kids.
Oh yeah, that had to have touched your heart to hear that.
It did. It really did. That somebody 10 years later that was 6 would come over and recognize the car and thank me for letting him sit in it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing about a lot of these smaller tracks where the return row where the cars come back right by the stand and the crowd can cheer you on when you're coming back. That's nice. Like Union Grove, you come right past the fans.
Yes, Union Grove and WIR. There's a lot of little tracks like that, but the spectators really appreciate you putting on the show, And like I said, you don't have to really run fast. You just put on a really good show and do the best you can and try to please the crowd because that's why you're there. And it's all and it's fun. It really is. We had a great time at Joliet last weekend. Great time. And I had 2 guys there. One guy had never even been to a drag race, and Rex couldn't go. He had his family health issue, and he couldn't go, and the guy that was supposed to help me couldn't go, and so I had two guys that had never been to the racetrack with me before go, and we had a great time, and everything worked out great. So we had a great time. It was fun.
Now, speaking of Union Grove, you had surprised me at Union Grove for the jet show the night of fire. I didn't know you were going to be there, but you showed up there with your funny car.
Yeah, yeah, we were there over around the 4th of July with the funny car, and we were the only funny car there. And
yeah, my wife and I found you back there in the pit area.
Yeah.
Like, whoa! I'm like, I know this car.
yeah. We were the only one there. The other guy that was supposed to show up, something happened to his car, and he couldn't make it. And we had issues with the car back at that time. But like I said, since that time, we found the problem. So I hope to really put on a lot better show at Union Grove this time.
Yeah. Then you told me, hey, Rex is right here. I was like,
yeah.
That was nice to meet. That was nice to meet Rex too.
Yeah, and he's just a great person, Rex. He's helped me tremendously.
Yep. Oh, so now, going back years ago again, when you were young, Mike, do you have any drivers that were, inspirational to you? Any heroes?
I guess you'd probably say that, Arnie Beswick and Don Garlitz back in the day was probably two of the guys that I kind of looked up to. And I guess I actually got to meet them personally, and they were great drivers in their own league, and I guess that's two of the guys that kind of back in the day. There was a lot of other ones, but that's two guys that I actually got to meet and talk to and watch them race.
And you and Arnie are both farmers.
Yep, me and Arnie are both farmers. Yes, we are. Yeah, we sure are. Arnie's a great person, really is.
I believe Arnie's gonna be there with his car at Union Grove Labor Day weekend.
Oh, that's great. That's great because we were at a race in Illinois here. I don't know. It's been several years ago, and it was back in '04 at the World Series at Cordova, and Arnie was there, and the photographers took a picture of my car doing the burnout, and in that picture, Arnie Beswick was standing right there beside the car holding his ears, and when I saw who it was, I got the picture and took it over, and he autographed it, and I've got it hanging in my shop. It's really neat. It says, it's an awesome ride, Mike, and Arnie signed it.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of the World Series, that's this weekend.
Yeah, that's this weekend. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Now, you think you're ever going to run at the World Series again?
No, I'm going to, but not this year. Actually, they wanted me to run the funny car up there this year. Something happened to one of the funny cars, and it couldn't. They needed an extra funny car, and they approached me about running it, but that would put me running last week at Joliet, this weekend at Cordova, and next week at Union Grove, and I've already obligated to Union Grove, and you hate to tear something up at Cordova and not be able to make it to Union Grove, so I bowed out and said thank you for asking, but not this year.
Yeah, you guys got lucky last weekend. It rained over there, then the rain passed over, and then you guys were able to run, right?
Yes, it actually worked out perfect because it rained that morning, and neither one of the guys had even been around this car, and I had to show them how to start it and everything, and while it was cloudy and overcast and raining, I showed them all the things they needed to do, and it gave us a lot of time where you didn't have to rush around to show them what to do, and we went over it several times, and they did everything perfectly, and it just worked like clockwork. We couldn't have had a better time. Yeah, and then the sun come out, and it wasn't really hot. It was really nice, and Joliet's a great place to race anyway. It's just a really nice place to race.
So now, Mike, you prefer the quarter mile or eighth mile?
I prefer the eighth of a mile. I'll run the quarter, but most of the fun's in the eighth of a mile anyway in a funny car because everything happens so quick and all of. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like to go fast, and you go faster in the quarter of a mile, but all the fun, leaving the starting line and shifting the gears and driving the car, the eighth of a mile is the most fun to me, and you don't hurt near as many parts.
So now, what was the experience like for you the first time ever driving a funny car down the track?
That would have been the World Series in '04 when we won it.
So how was the experience for the first time getting in a funny car?
Well, it was different. I had been in cars before, but I'd never been in a funny car, and it was altogether different, and I just took to it like a duck to water because it never bothered me or nothing, and I loved it from the first time. I'd always wanted a funny car, always. And from the first time I sat in it and drove it, it was just, I loved every minute of it. Still do.
So now, when you take the funny car out, for crew members, is Rex your only crew member, or you have anybody else?
Yeah, Rex is a crew member, and there was a guy by the name of Tom down in St. Louis that helped me, and he was really good. But he had health issues now, and he hasn't been able to help me. And he was really good and loved to go with the car. And hopefully next year he'll be able to go again. And it's just tough to find people that wants to crew on a funny car. Nobody really wants to help. They want to go, but they don't want to do anything. They just want to, it's tough to find good help. But I had great help last weekend. Great help. Couldn't ask for better help.
Now, do you have any sponsors for your funny car?
No sponsors. I do it on my own dime, and I don't make any money, but unless I blow something up, I'm not out a lot of money because the money that you get to race for this race, I take that money and use it to go to the next race and so on and so on. So you don't make any money, but hopefully if you don't break any parts, you get to race for free, and it's fun.
All right. Now, for you, Mike, before a race, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions at all when you're at the track?
No, I don't have any rituals. I just try to get everybody in line of what they're supposed to be doing and make sure everybody does their job and get in the car and do what we do. Now, Rex and I we do the same thing every time. We know what to do, and we know how to start the car, and we do the same thing every time, so there's no big deal. But as far as doing anything that's superstitious type that I do everything, I don't have any of that. I just get in the funny car and have fun.
All right. Now, what kind of preparation goes into getting this funny car prepped up for a weekend?
Oh, it takes about a day, at least a day or longer to go over the funny car before you go to a race. You got to check bolts and nuts because of the vibration and go over this and find oil leaks and then get everything ready and get the car loaded in the trailer and all the stuff you need in the trailer and make sure you've got everything. And usually when you get to the racetrack, there's something you forgot or you need and you don't have. But it takes a good day or a little over a day just to get ready for a race.
All right, now, in your drag racing career, have you had any accidents or close calls?
Yeah, yes, I have. Actually, we were WIR, let's see, I guess it was last year, and Rex doesn't like my parachutes, and so he took the parachutes off his top fuel car and said, here, they're a lot easier to pack, and they were a lot easier to pack, and anyway, we were running at WIR a quarter of a mile, and we were running probably, I don't know, probably I was going to crash.
Well, knock on wood, you're not going to have any accidents.
Yeah, I hope not. I guess I've been pretty fortunate. I've been racing a funny car now for about 18 years, and so far I've been pretty fortunate, I guess. And you got good people that see things that's wrong before you get out on the track that causes issues, and you know, it's just we've had a lot of fun with the car.
Now, what are some of your favorite tracks to run on?
What are some of the tracks that I've run on?
What are some of your favorites?
My favorite tracks?
Yeah.
I'd say one of my favorite tracks is WIR and St. Louis. Actually, my most favorite track of all was Wentzville, and it closed in 04, and it was probably, that was my local track, and that's the one I raced at every weekend until, you know, most every weekend, and it was a great track run by great people, and they were friendly. It was a down-home country atmosphere, had a lot of trees and shade, and Wentzville was by far my most favorite track of any track ever.
Now, where do you get all your fire safety equipment from, Mike?
Do what?
Where do you get all your fire safety equipment from?
I get it from different places. You know, the fire suits and stuff, they cost a lot of money. And a lot of times you can pick up fire suits on the internet that have been recertified. And you know, that's where I have bought my fire suits. And then you get your gloves and your helmet. I got a Simpson helmet, and you get your gloves and things at different places, you know, different, like you go to a drag race and they have a sale on them or something like that. And then Jegs gives you racers discounts on parts that you buy from them. If you have a license, you know, a 750 or faster license, they give you a break on parts, and I get stuff from Summit and Jegs, my safety equipment.
So, what kind of tires are you running on the funny car?
I run Hoosiers on the back and Goodyears on the front. I used to run Goodyears on the back, and I really prefer the Hoosiers.
All right, so Mike, what would you consider to be the milestones of your drag racing career so far?
Owning the funny car and driving the funny car. That's, to me, that's the greatest thrill that there is. And, you know, I've got a super stock car too, and it's a great car. It really is. And it, you know, I have no problems. I like it too, but the funny car, that to me is the greatest milestone I can have, is to own and drive a funny car.
And of course, when you hit that 200 mile per hour mark, that'll be a milestone.
Do what?
I said, of course, when you hit that 200 mile per hour mark, that's going to be a milestone.
That would be a great mile, you know. Yeah. But, you know, just, I'm happy with, if the car runs good and puts on a good show, whether I run 200 miles an hour or not, that's really what it's all about. I would like to run 200 miles an hour, and I hope to someday, but I just enjoy doing what I'm doing, and I have fun at it. I really have fun. I love being out with the funny car.
So now, when you do races with Rex, when Rex is running the dragster, do you do this, just the whole smoky burnout all the way down the track?
I would do what now?
I said, when you're running with Rex, when Rex is running his dragster at a same show with you, do you change up your show? You just do the whole burnout down the track like Rex does?
Yeah. Oh, we try to help each other, but usually if he's running his dragster and I'm running a funny car, we're usually running about the same time, and he usually, I didn't get to help him with his car when we were WIR, and he didn't get to help me with mine because you're so busy with your own car, you really don't have time. But that's just the way it is. When he takes his dragster and I don't take the funny car, then I go with him, and vice versa. When he doesn't take the dragster, he comes with me. So it's just, and that's how we do it.
But when you're running the same show as Mike, I mean same show as Rex, do you change up your show? You don't do a burnout and run? Do you? You just do a whole burnout down the track? That's it.
Oh yeah. I do. I don't change up anything. I do the same thing every time, or I try to, and it's just I don't make any difference. That's just the way we do it.
Now, now I'm not sure if you understand what I'm asking you, Mike. You know how Rex does the smoky burnout down the track all the way down to the end?
Yeah, he does. He does a full.
Right.
That's the reason he built. That's the reason he built his car. It's to do like it did back in the '60s.
Right.
He does a complete quarter of a mile burnout.
Exactly.
I mean, and he doesn't run. He doesn't do a short burnout. He goes through the water, gets his tires wet, and then when he leaves the starting line, in fact, there's some videos on Facebook of him down at Mocan last year, and he smoked the entire quarter of a mile, just all the way down.
Right, exactly.
And that's what he built the car for, is to do like it did back in the '60s.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was asking you. When you run the same show as Rex, do you try to do that too with your car?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm building a car this winter to try to match with Rex, and we're both going to try to do the same thing. I'm building a front engine dragster as well, and we're going to try to do some match racing next year.
Yeah, because I know Ted Bryan's got that coupe up for sale.
Yeah. He's got the coupe for sale, and he's going to go all out. He's going to go nostalgia racing. It ain't just going to be exhibition. He's going to go out for nostalgia racing. He's going to do an altered, but I'm going to try to do the same as Rex, and I'm pretty much building my motor like Rex did, so we both can use the same tune-up. So hopefully he'll get the tune-up lined out, and we can have fun doing that too.
So now, if you match with Rex, are you going to go nitro?
It'll be nitro as well. My motor and his motor, both of them are going to be 500 cubic inches, and we're going to basically run identical everything. And so it'll be fun. It'll be fun to race Rex. I did it at Mocan last year, and it was fun. Rex is kind of my idol. He when he had the Demon in Wentzville, he was the one to beat, and he held the record at Wentzville for a long time. And so it's kind of, I guess you'd say he's my mentor, and I just love racing Rex. I think it would be really fun for Rex and I to do match racing.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is. When we get found out, and we'll have a lot of fun at it. And we had a lot of fun up to WIR this year, even though he blew his car up. The people that I knew, several people up there. Clay Cousette had the FX car, and I know Clay really well, and I've known him for years. And it's fun to do that when everybody gets together, and hopefully next year Damon can get his car together and do some match racing, and it's a lot more fun when you have people that you know and you can race each other.
Right. All right, so now, Mike, I'm going to ask you a couple fun questions here before you finish up. You ready?
Okay.
You have any hobbies outside of drag racing?
No.
Just farming?
No hobbies outside of drag racing. That's it. That's my only hobby.
Only farming?
Farming, I do work, and my other hobby is drag racing. It's always been drag racing, and that's the only hobby I've ever had.
All right, so now, since you've been doing the Aka funny car thing, has there been a greatest competitor out there for you?
Has it what?
Has there been a greatest competitor in Aka funny cars?
Yeah. there's a lot of good competitors out there, and and you get up for a lot of them, and it's fun. It's just, that's all I can say. It's just a great hobby.
So who is one of your biggest competitors that you've ran against?
Oh, I don't know. I don't really have any rivals, but I get up for a lot of them, and now I want to step up and run with some of the bigger boys, and hopefully I can. And I don't really have anybody that I'm going to try to, that I just got to beat this guy or that guy. I just want to step up and run with them, and be a really good close competitor to a lot of the cars that's running in the low sevens and the high six.
All right. So, what's your favorite music to listen to?
Favorite movie?
Favorite music.
Music, old time rock and roll.
Now, does the old time rock and roll soothe your soul?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what Bob Seger says, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right. So, what's Mike's favorite food to eat?
Favorite food? I'd say probably a barbecue, a hamburger cooked on a grill with a fresh tomato.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite thing.
Now, you prefer charcoal or gas?
I prefer charcoal.
Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah, it has a little more flavor to it. I don't, it just, charcoal to me is the best. It adds a little flavor to it.
So, what's your favorite beverage to drink?
Coca-Cola.
Even though it's terrible for you.
I love Coca-Cola.
So, what's your second beverage of choice? Water?
Actually, Gatorade.
Got to replace the electrolytes, huh?
Yeah, I like something with taste. I like tea too, but I'd say probably Coke and Gatorade, and then water.
All right. So, what's been your fondest memory of your drag racing career?
Racing with good friends and winning the World Series in '04.
All right. Now, how important do you think it is for the kids to come out and watch drag racing?
I think that's really important. I think that they need to do something to get the younger generation out and to get them involved, and that's what I'm saying. Whenever kids come to round the car, I try to show them what they need to do, and I ask them if they have any questions, and try to get them asking questions to get them enthused about cars. And when I was growing up, cars was it. I mean, to me, that was it. From the time I was probably 12 or 13 years old, cars was all I thought about. I really got into them, and now they've got computers and so on and so forth. But I think they need to do something to get the kids involved in racing again.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of empty stands at different tracks.
Yep, a lot of empty stands, and you see kids, and they don't get out of the house. They sit around and look at the computers and their phones, and you just it's just different, and I guess everything changes. So
if people want to find out where you're going to be at, what's the best way for people to find out where you're racing at?
Well, if they can get on online to the Great Lakes Nostalgia Funny Car, I run with them a lot, and then Evolution of Drag Racing. They can get on that website and see where we're running there, and then